Good morning, everybody. I am Jessie Jennings, and as we've been talking this week about recovering from traumatic situations, I've really been enjoying it. Hopefully you have as well. Share it with a friend, a co-worker, a family member, anybody you know that has been dealing with traumatic situations, because all of us deal with them. All of us deal with situations that will involve a season of recovery. And so I've been sharing with you some of the things that I learned as I've been going through the recovery after the recent surgery that I underwent, man, and it was such a blessing to me. And the last thing I want to share with you regarding that, I talked about how you got to keep it in perspective. I talked about how you really need to have a partner. I talked about how you got to have healthy ways to manage the pain. But today, I want to close it all up and talk about you have to understand it's a process. Recovery is a process. It is not an instantaneous event. It doesn't just happen overnight. You know, a friend of mine told me, because I'm the type of person, I'm active. I'm trying to get out. I'm trying to go. I'm trying to move. I'm lifting. I'm doing, a mover and shaker, in my own mind at least. And so I would, get up and try and do my thing. And even, when I went to work, immediately, next day I'm trying to get to work. And the day after the next day, I was trying to go to work. And my pastor even had to tell me, now, son, what are you doing here? Go home. You've got to recover. You've got to give the body a chance to heal from what it has been through. And a friend of mine told me, surgery is trauma. And, the body undergoes trauma and it has to heal. It's a process that it has to go through. And in the same way, if you have been through a traumatic situation, like maybe you were with somebody for years and you're no longer together, that can be traumatic. That can be trauma. Or maybe you've lost your job and you loved your job. Now, some people out there, they lose their job. It's not that big of a deal because they don't really care about their job. They haven't poured that much into the job, and they were only going there to collect a paycheck anyway. And maybe don't even really need that, because they got some other side hustles going. But you who loved your job, you who poured everything you had into your job, you who would, learn as much as you could learn to improve your performance on the job. When you lost that job, that was traumatic. That was traumatic. Trauma can happen in so many different ways. You saved all of your money up so you could buy a house or something, and then some unexpected, bills came through. Maybe it were doctor bills, maybe, or some unexpected expenses. Somebody hit your car. Wasn't even your fault. And they didn't have insurance and you had to pay for your car out of your own pocket. Unexpected expenses can come. And now when you think seemingly did everything right, end up in a situation that's all wrong, and it can be traumatic. And you have to go through a season of recovery. Well, that will be a process. It will take time. And you have to allow yourself that time. Give yourself that time. For me, that was one of the most difficult things, is actually giving myself time, because I don't sit long. A lot of times I'm not watching an entire movie. I watch a little bit, but I got to get up and go. I have to do something. But when you're in a season of recovery, you have to give yourself time to heal. You have to give yourself time to transition back into a place of wholeness and wellness. If you don't, you can make the situation worse than it was. So if you've been through a traumatic situation and you're in a season of recovery, allow yourself to recover. Allow yourself time to operate at a less than optimal capacity. You don't have to go hard every day of the week in this season because you're recovering. You have to be okay with that, and make other people be okay with that. That you're not gonna be able to respond to every text message right now. You're in recovery. You're not gonna be able to come to every event, every dinner out and outing with your friends. You're in financial recovery. You're not gonna be able to be available, 24 hours a day like you usually are, or they're used to you being, because you're in a season of recovery. Be okay with that. Make everybody else okay with that, and allow yourself to go through the process. And I pray that your season of recovery will be as quick as possible, as painless as possible. But I understand that it'll also be a process involved. So God bless. I look forward to seeing you next week. Hopefully this has been a blessing to you. If it has, share it with somebody, because I believe that, again, all of us go through seasons of recovery. And I pray that this has uncovered you as you go through yours. God bless. And I'll talk to you next week.